Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good night to you all. Hopefully, you are all having a lovely day. I think in this case, all may just be me, but this will possibly change as the hour progresses. We'll see what happens. So, the plan for today is to continue working on the Pariha Coral entry. For people who only saw last Wednesday's stream, I thought to say Tuesday, but I should have done Wednesday last week because of reasons. If you only saw my last world building stream on Wednesday, the coral did not have a name. It has now been named. I named it, I think either just after that stream ended or sometime the next afternoon. It is called Pariha Coral. It, I think, literally translates to like sleep coral in the fantasy gobbledygook languages that I'm using for the setting. Well, this is one of one of the languages. It means something about like some bullshit. I think it's sleep. I'm pretty sure it's sleep. I'm pretty sure it means like sleep coral or like sleep tree. I think it means sleep tree. I'm pretty sure it's like poro is the word for sleep and then like iha is the word for tree. So yeah, I can't actually remember. I believe on the Wednesday stream it was literally just I had written around something kind of like this and then just notes, like this entire section, which is still notes. And then on Saturday's stream I did some art, which you can see. I've also, done a quote about that sleepy coral and properly written the characteristics section. So about how this used to be just a list of stuff. Now it's actually been written. There's an image. It's not perhaps the best depiction of coral that I could reasonably do, but it looks kind of cute and that's fine with me. And then there's also this other image which I also did on the Saturday stream, which is of the coral in bloom, which it's coral. It doesn't bloom, but it does go poof. It just releases its shit. Because that's how coral actually works. Usually it's underwater when this happens, but because the one of the key traits of Pariha coral is it's not underwater, it's pollen. People who are familiar with coral will substitute the correct word, but this is supposed to be a plant, which coral isn't a plant. But then again, neither is fungus, and people have written about fungus. So I feel like I can write about coral. I still haven't checked that, but at this point I put in too much effort to care. I put in too much effort to care. Bloody hell, turning bloody kiwi. So yeah, this is the section. This section is basically done. It'll get a pass towards the end, because at the end I'm gonna copy it all out and take it into a spell checker, because unfortunately the editor that I use in World Anvil does not have spell check, so I've probably misspelt and grammarized the bad times out of it, as I usually do, and I'll check it when I get there, So it'll get a little update then. I already rewrote this entire section, I'm pretty sure. And it may get it may get edited again, because it's the start of the article and it's supposed to be important, right? We'll see. And then I added these two things to it, and that I don't know if I need to put more or less stuff here. It might need like a name bit where I mention not what the name means, because I'll be honest, no one but me cares about the etymology of my fantasy gobbledygook words, except in like specific circumstances where it's important, which it never is, so don't worry about it. Like, you do not need to be able to know what the words mean. You just need to know what word means what in the context of the world. Like, you don't need to know that Horoda means like Death Sleep Island or some shit. All you need to know is it's the island in the southeast. West. Shit. I'm probably gonna need a map. Aww, beans. I'm gonna have to do a map now. I've realized. Luckily, I have a map of that island, or at least I have a map of the whole continent, and the island is on it. So that's something. Alright, well, the plan is to work on the uses section. At the moment, because there's 3 categories of uses, the decorative, the building, and the medicinal, I've currently put it into 3 columns. It may not stay that way, depending on what happens, because I don't think they're going to be similar heights. For lack of better word. I don't think I'm going to have as much to write about all of them. Unless I make all their sections fairly short. Which means now I feel like I have to actually check specifically what the challenge asks of me on that front as to how important that section is going to be. All about an important interesting plant in your world. I mean, if they can literally be living mushroom like people, like that move and stuff, then I can write about coral. This is my opinion. I'm just going, I just want to write about coral. It's the only unique plant that I have. So what does it look like? Where does it grow? Conditions. I didn't write about the conditions, but I guess it's kind of implied that it only grows on Huroda for a reason. Maybe. The fact that there's some under the water perhaps implies that it doesn't. I might mention that in the sidebar or something, depending on how long the body of the article is. Then there's the uses section. So that I do have a uses section, which is what we're working on today. And then there's culture, which is going to be the sidebar thing somewhat. It is going to be mentioned. That's what the mask thing was about, which I'm going to do proper mask art. Mask art. Can I get vowels? Can I purchase a vowel? A functional vowel. No, I'm not allowed to have a functional vowel. Vowels are a crime. Can you stop sticking to the tissue, please? What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? Christ. I know you have to close it because I don't have it above the PowerPoint anymore. It probably should still be closed, but not as tight. That's it. Don't want to get water in my shoes. So maybe it's for the best. Alright. Jesus. Let's go. So down here, way down here, you've got the columns. So we'll start with decorative, which I feel like is going to be the shortest section just because it's not exactly complicated. It's literally just the way that, like, coral is used. Jesus. The way that coral just is used. You know? Like, people just use it. They just use that. And they make it do that. And so you put it into jewelry and shit. And that, like, it's not complicated. You use it to make beads. And you have a bunch of cool beads everywhere. Maybe you make some mosaics out of it if you want to be fancy. Why not, right? But that's basically it. There's black coral that you can use as cool. Where? Oh, that's cool though. Yeah, so the point is, it's basically just decorative. It's fairly self-explanatory. Whereas when I get to building purposes, I don't think most people per se would know that coral is used for building. Mostly because it's not like, you're not like cutting down the tree and then using the wood to make a house. You are fossilizing, you're waiting for the coral to get fossilized. And it turns into like limestone. And so in the setting, because you got magic and whatever the hell we want, you can basically like low-key fossilize a plant. Or you can fossilize this coral anyway. There is like a method to do that involving like pressure and heat or something. And you can basically just, you know, bleach the shit out of it, turn it into limestone, and then build with it. Which, because there's not any trees on the island of Huroda, is useful as a building material, just like as a bonus. which is why most of the buildings are white. That's why in the drawing where I drew like this one city, which I believe is called Zdahazos. Zdahazos, my bad. Zdahazos is pretty much entirely limestone, because why wouldn't it be? You had to get rid of the coral anyway, and what better way to neutralize the coral than to bloody fossilize it? Just full kill it. You know? Because if you're fossilizing it, you're killing it. It can't hurt you anymore. Not in terms of, the sleepy shit anyway. Like, the coral, once fossilized, cannot put you to sleep, except in the sense that someone could take a rock of it and knock you out. So it's not, like, a threat in the same way that living coral, which is spouting out, pollen is. Just putting that bit of hair up to maybe make that less annoying. Maybe. Unlikely, but a little bit, maybe. God, my hair is an absolute mess. It's really adding to the, like, recently woken up PE teacher vibe that this shirt is giving me. Oh well. Okay, to decorative purposes, it's basically just beads. Which is why it's like, you know, beads, bracelets, gems, beads, bracelets, gems. That's kind of it. I don't think you would use it for decorative any other way. Like, you could probably theoretically turn it into paint, but I don't think you would. Just because of the risk factor involved in that. Like, because if you take, because you want the color, right? Which is very, like, oranges, reds, pinks, a little bit of purple and blue, but mostly, like, reds, orange, pinks. If you take it living coral and then crush it to turn it into, like, paint pigment, that motherfucker is active. That plant is active, and if you are, like, you know, breathing while painting, you're gonna just keep knocking yourself out on the paint fumes, basically. Which is why you do not use it as a painting material. And if you are having to carve it at all, you are doing so, like, on a cliff, on a windy cliff, while wearing a mask. So, you know, have fun with that. Good luck. That's why most people don't. It's not a particularly common decorative element, material. It's not a particularly common decorative material, just because of the risk factor involved, which is why it's more commonly used medicinally, because you can use that crushed coral powder to knock people out anesthetically. And then you kill it before you crush it. Which, if you were using it as a paint after you've, like, fossilized it, you're basically just getting, like, a white or gray paint. And I don't know if that's really necessary. So it's basically used to make limestone, and then, like, I guess you could probably make, like, a cement out of it. But that's all the building purposes, right? Because, like, there probably are, like, you could probably, like, I don't think lacquer is the word that I want, but something like that. Like, is it lacquer? Yes. Right, okay, yeah, so lacquer. You could basically, take a bit of coral and lacquer it, or, like, fucking coat it in resin or something. Bruh. Just, you know, just cover it in stuff. And that means that even though the coral is not dead in the same way that it is when you fossilize it for limestone and construction uses, it's not going to do anything unless you are a dipshit. Unless you fuck up, you are not at any risk when it comes to, like, lacquered coral. Just because, like, now if any sleep bullshit is like, between you and the sleep bullshit is a layer of, like, resin. Pretty much. I think resin is probably closer to what I'm thinking of. I don't actually know what resin is made out of. I'm pretty sure you can make it out of like tree sap or some shit, so I feel like you probably have resin, right? Yeah, boy. Plants. Make some like tree sap resin, dude. Why not? Go ham. And yeah, basically tree sap shit. So you could basically coat the beads, like you just coat them in a little bit of resin or lacquer or something, and that makes it safe. But that doesn't mean you can just like put it in your mouth. Because if you do, first of all, why? Second of all, no. And third of all, you might accidentally dissolve the lacquer or resin, and that means you are now licking like living coral, which has sleep properties, and you might just pass out. So like, don't do that. Basically, just don't do it. Just don't eat it. Don't eat it unless your doctor tells you to. Just don't do it. So decorative purposes, fairly few. Is almost always coated in a lacquer or resin when used to preserve, enhance the color while protecting the wearer from that sleep dust. That's it. That's the way. Building purposes. Fossilize that shit. Pressure and heat. Congrats, it's now kinda like limestone. I need to research what limestone do. How do I... That's not the button. Why is that what that opens? That's weird. Stop it. Stop. Why is... That's not what I want. I didn't want to do that. I wanted that button. I literally did it before and then I immediately forgot whether it was like Windows N or like Control N. It's Control N to open a new tab, or window rather. Oof. I'm just checking. How in it be making the coral? How do it be? Because it's fossilizing. Is the vibe, right? You fossilize it, which is mostly pressure. Mostly, right? It is like limestone forms in calcite, so that is part of, because the coral like excretes calcium to make its harder exterior, so that's where the calcite comes from. When they precipitate out of water. Okay. Wait, okay. Okay, never mind. Hold on. So... shit. I didn't do chemistry, yo. That's, right, so when it precipitates out of water, so you'd have to take the coral, dunk it in a vat full of water, and then, like, boil it or some shit. No, that would, yeah, because I guess that would bleach it, which is, like, I guess kind of means there's more calcite. Is that how bleaching works? It doesn't really, but it does, like, it does, like, speed up, like, precipitation, right? No, it's the other way around. Precipitate goes down. What? Fuck. Jesus. I haven't done chemistry in any form since I was, like, 14. Like, I've been through, like, an entire high school's worth of life since I last had to do chemistry. So I don't know. What? Fuck. Shit. Face in an ocean more early saturated with calcium carbonate than the modern ocean. Cool. Alright. So. Nah. You all can just. Actually, hold on. Let me switch tabs so you can at least. God damn it, that's the wrong window. So you can at least look at something while I stare at this goddamn Wikipedia article that I have open. I have another resin. Close the resin tab. I don't need resin. I don't need the resin window. I don't need it. Tell me what the bleaching does. Tell me what bleaching means. Stressed coral will basically do the pollen poof, but like big though. And the algae is the colors. God. I mean, like, I guess the idea. God damn, that's the wrong window again. I guess, like, the idea is if you take this funky cool coral, the funky coral, and you basically bleach the shit out of it. Right? Which I'm imagining is involving basically taking it and then probably boiling it. So it probably is still involving boiling. You basically take this funky sleepy coral, you chuck it in a goddamn, like, pot, and you boil the shit out of it. And then that will, like, over time. So it's not an immediate process. It'll take a little bit, because you're basically trying to bleach the coral. Because if you can get rid of all of the algae and stuff, or like, well, in this case, I guess it's like the polyps itself or something is what the color is, because this is above water coral, so it's not algae, because algae is a below water thing, kind of. But like, you basically bleach the coral, and then it dies. You basically you're trying to kill it by just stressing it the hell out, which you do by taking chunks of it, putting it in a pot, and boiling it. And then what you can do is you can now take that dead-ass coral and use it for something. Because now it's completely inert, but also white. So it's technically not limestone, it is technically just like calcium, I think is how that works. I think it's basically now just calcium. Or some kind of like calcite. Because it's what the exoskeleton is. Calcium carbonate. Close enough. Same shit. I'm not a chemist, dude. I don't need to know that. Basically, you kill it so the color goes, and the color is where all the danger is, because it's the polyps and shit that make the sleepy dust, and that's the bad time. You get rid of that by boiling the shit out of it, and now it's just calcium carbonate. And now you can use it to do things that won't kill people because they pass out too hard. That's the wrong button. I was looking for the calcium carbonate one. Can I read? Where is it? Where's the word calcium carbonate? I saw it. There it is. Uses. Yes. Yeah, so calcium carbonate can be used either as a building material or limestone aggregate for road building, ingredient in cement, or as preparation of builder's lime. Yeah, so basically that's what it would be used for. I guess. You just gotta But it weathers very much. But luckily, the coral, there is a lot of it. So you can basically repair shit fairly easily. You make your blocks out of it. I need to not do that. That probably sounds awful. It's coming up on the microphone. You basically bleach the shit out of the coral. It becomes just some calcium carbonate with no dangerous sleepy time properties. And then you take the shit out of it. And then you can just use it to build. It's not a good building material, but there are no trees, and like, you know, that's it. You can obviously, like, just use the ground, like the rocky, craggy ground that you're on, and people do that. But the limes, like, you might as well get some use out of the goddamn coral. Like, if you have to kill it to get rid of it anyway, you might as well use it, as opposed to just, like, dumping coral corpses in the ocean. It's probably a bad idea. So that's why they just use it anyway, even though it's kind of useless. Boil it in a pot. To bleach it. To not fossilize it. That's still not the right word. So basically, boil the coral in a pot to forcibly bleach it. Now you've got calcium carbonate. Baby. Use it to make bricks and, like, cement and shit. Congrats. We can build now. Did I use the word limestone earlier, like, in the article? I did. It's basically limestone. It's fine. Hey, Day! Good evening. Welcome. I have been reading Wikipedia articles for half an hour. So you missed the most exciting. Right, just as you should. It makes me feel like a PE teacher, but that's not something I can, like, explain as an emotion. It's just like the vibe. Makes me feel like a PE teacher. I'm far too skinny to be a PE teacher, but that's just kind of like what's happening. I'm also not fit, so. Alright, now it's medicinal, which is the part that involves the least Wikipedia articles. Thank God. I'm gonna fix my hair again. That made it even worse. That did not do anything. That didn't do any bit of what I was trying to make it do. The best part is, because no one was in chat, I literally, like, just before you showed up, ate a Mentos. Like, I'm eating a Mentos, because I was like, not that I'm bored. I'm not bored, I am doing something. But I was like, no one's gonna mind if I start eating. And so I'm eating my Mentos. So that's what's happening. I'm sorry about that one. It's no, okay. You can... About... The chair actually... Oh, the chair is blue, because the jacket on it. I forgot that the jacket was up, because I was wearing it. If I take that off, the chair is now black. That's my magic trick. And I need to put this somewhere. I can put this as a back thing. 1 second. Hey. Now the chair is black. Now I don't blend into my chair. And now you can even better see my back cushion. Which I have because I'm short. That is actually why I have it. It's because I'm short. And I can't sit properly in chairs. I have bad posture. Okay, so you can powder the living stuff to get that sleepy powder. This can be used to knock someone TF out. I am both too gay to sit in a chair properly and also too short. Because, like, my upper legs are not long enough to put me in the back of the chair and not have my legs hang weirdly. Because they just don't, it's not comfortable. Which is also because I'm gay, yes. I'm too gay to sit in a chair properly. This is just how it is. Used as an anesthetic kind of thing. That's probably it. They're not super complicated. I feel like building is going to take the most most explanation just because it involves some bullshit. Okay. Due to its vibrant colors and its rarity. That was actually quite loud. Ow. Its rarity. Riha. Coral fragments can be found in the jewelry of the local, the rich. I'm probably not going to need a full column for these. Well, actually, it looks better and it's in the column because it makes it look like there's more that's being said. It's one sentence and it's 4 lines. Which is pretty impressive, to be honest. And enjoy the rich. With safe handling, they can be turned into beads for necklaces and bracelets. Carved into more solid pieces. Or, actually no, it would be, or carved into more solid, more solid pieces. Hey, Kashtan! Welcome! Welcome. It's coral time. Now I feel really awkward that I started eating before everyone arrived, because now I try and finish this. Because now I can't talk because it's in my mouth. I did not plan that through. Solid pieces. These are almost always coated with a layer of... Food is good. I mean, it's like... It's like sweets. So it's probably not like great. But like what I don't eat healthy, so that's fine. Or liqueur to mint any sleeping properties in use, I suppose, is the word that I would use for that. Column 3 is too thin, I think, is my issue. Like, that's just really thin. You'd probably want to, like, is it justify? I never use justify. I don't actually know what it does. Like, I'm not entirely clear. No. You do not justify. That's why I don't use it, because it looks real bad when you do that with it. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think it'll end up being column 3. I don't think that's makes sense. We'll probably just eat those columns. They're too skinny for comfortable reading, and we'll just make it like paragraphs. I'm gonna fix this one to be bigger later. The opening paragraph of uses. I'm just gonna do a paragraph on each of the uses of the coral. So this is the decorative paragraph. Then there'll be the building paragraph and the medicinal paragraph. And then there's all of this. Jesus. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the thing about the animal. I might keep the thing about the animal. Thing is, I don't know what the hell it would be. I'm gonna separate that out. I'm gonna separate out this section. I'm just gonna be like, because I don't know. Because, like, even though, like, it's a fantasy world and I can do what I want, I don't think there are actually any plants, like, animals There are not any animals native to this island. They would all have to be introduced, because it came from underwater. All the fish suffocated. So it's like, what? What am I supposed to do with that? Possibly I would actually go medicinal next rather than building. Just because building will take the most time to explain, and it's the, like, furthest step along in the task of killing that coral. We start with, you're just carving bits off of it, that's normal, to, hey, you can powder it and eat it, to, we boiled it in a pot. And then we made bricks out of it. How would I word a bit about the medicinal? The exhaustion caused by the Korea pollen and coral can be harnessed productively in certain circumstances. Notably, a Korea powder can be found throughout Heroda, which I've used in... There it is, perfect. And throughout Heroda as an aesthetic. As if it is... well, that's basically it. It's not complicated. It's literally just, hey, you can... If it knocks people out normally, you can just knock them out. Forest-derived medicines come from crushed coral plants, as these keep their sleep-inducing properties longer. But in the short term, pollen-derived medicines can be used these are more, another word, effective, more potent, but fade faster. That's a paragraph. That's a paragraph about medicine. Woo. I should probably just put being far more potent, but fading faster. Change the word derived out of there. Editing. Words. Word choice is hard. It's now a whole, like, bits shorter. So that's nice. And then we want the building section when we boil it in a pot. Properties can be completely ignored if Maria coral is used as a building material, which only occurs on Heroda. In this instance, coral chunks are boiled in pots and bats to kill off all the pollen, all the sleep-inducing organisms. Simultaneously bleaching the coral into a bright white material similar to limestone. Am I doing nanocamp? Probably not. I haven't thought about it. Cause I've done Camp Nano before, like, and when I say before, I mean in like 2015 or something. And I think it's best I don't. Not because it's a bad system or anything, but because I think I'm still like lightly burnt out from doing Nano and World Ember back to back. And so I don't think, even though Camp Nano is a self-assigned goal and I can just do 10,000 words or something, I think it'd still be better if I don't do that. I think it's better if I just still, like, chill out until summer camp. So, you know, July. I'll wait until July and then go, wee! I think it will work better for me, long term. Not that it's a bad idea. Maybe I'll do some writing anyway. We'll see. Then I do 10k apple. World Ember 2! World Ember 2! Hell yeah. It's a good goal. 10k is pretty good. And it is nice to, like, you know, keep, you know, your muscles in, like, in that sense, in action by doing stuff. I think there was, like, a bit where, when I was doing, when I did the Death of a Language article, that was the Tingyirhu one, back in February, I was like, I still need to do conlanging for one of the, like, species in my world. I should do, like, conlanging March. Didn't do that. Maybe that'll be, like, an April thing. Like, an April side project is to start working on the conlang for the final conlang for TU Amara, which is the merfolk one. Well, number 2, we write a novel. Hey! Well, I guess that's more in keeping with you know, Nano overall. I guess the issue is that if I do like a conlanging thing, I basically cannot track word count for it, because that's not how conlanging works. Which is rough. And then be crushed. The powder used to create bricks, or is the word cement? Hold on, let's find where'd I put it. It's here. Can be used as aggregate. Let's cement them. Oops, wrong tab. There we go. I'm using coral limestone in construction is that it weathers easily in the rain. And as such, all buildings on Kuroda, no, I said many, not all buildings made out of limestone. Many buildings on Kuroda will be repaired annually or after substantial storms to prevent plant collapse. And that's the big section where I talk about building. Dear God. That's the section. Okay, I can then cut this bit out. Did I miss anything? So jewelry, architectural furniture, spice, small bushes. Yeah, you gotta just like resin the shit out of the bushes. And then, you know, you boil it. Twitch dies. No, I hate when it does that. I hate when Twitch does that. I think it's good on my end. I'm sure you'll all find out if that changes because I'll start swearing. Okay, I think I've written everything that was in this section, so I can remove those notes. Which now just leaves the thing about the animal. So I think the reason that I initially had the sleep, that I had the medicinal third in the list, was that it would then segue into the thing about the animal used to neutralize it. But again, I don't know if there would be a native animal in this location that could be used for this. So if there is some kind of animal or plant-based thing that neutralizes or reverses the effects of the pollen, I don't know. It'd have to be from outside of the area. It died completely. For a while, the website just stopped working. When it refreshed, it disappeared. That's weird. It's really weird when it, like, crashes. It's very, very frustrating. Yeah, I don't know about the animal thing. Because, like, while having an animal on the island would be cool, I don't think there is a native animal on this island. I don't, like, the coral surviving is, like, a hand wave that makes, like, you can let it slide for the sake of it being cool. You can just be like, hey, you know, the nutrients in the soil are real damn good, and by soil I mean rocks. The nutrients in these rocks are real damn good, so the coral survived getting shoved into the air and just adapted, because coral's long-lived anyways, takes a lot to kill it, and just why they have to boil the shit out of it. But living, breathing, flesh and blood animals are not typically quite that hardy. And so the types of animals that would survive that sudden deep water to open air transition, I don't think would be an animal that you could quote unquote humanely harvest a material from. Because it'd be like fucking trilobites or something. And pretty much the only way to get anything out of a trilobite is to kill it. So I actually don't know anything about, I don't know anything about marine biology. That's not a thing that I know about. It's a trilobite? I don't like it. So yeah, I'm thinking no native animals. Everything has come to the island from elsewhere. Pretty much, except for the coral. The coral's native, everything else is not. Oh, Yosemite pantsing a novel. Maybe this is your way to write. Maybe. It's always worth a shot. It's worth a shot to be like, okay, just sort of vague idea, and then let's roll. I think I tried full pantsing a novel once. That didn't go. Like, it didn't even go, like, well or poorly. It just did not, like, start. Because I didn't have an idea. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I was there like, I have an opening paragraph, and that's it, and I don't know where it goes, and then I stopped. Food waiting must go. Hell yeah. Food waits for no one. Food is the important thing. Eat food good. Food good. Ugh. I mean, like, so the sleeping does not need a neutralizer. I feel like it would be good to have one. Possibly what I would do instead of having there be something that does work currently, have it be something that they are working on developing. Because it would be really nice if there was a way to revive someone after they accidentally, you know, sniffed a coral and passed out, aside from just, like, waiting and, like, slapping them in the face a couple times. If there was something that you could actually do, or a way that you could defend yourself other than covering your face, Like, you know, like if there was something that they could do. There'd probably be a bunch of folk tales about it, like, oh, you know, milk, really helpful. And it's like, that's great. Where am I getting milk on this island, huh? There's no grass for grazing. There's no cows here. And then they say eggs, and it's like, that's great. There's not that many birds on this island either, because they come here and they pass out and they get eaten by the coral on the ground. That's how the cycle works. That's what's happening. The coral makes things pass out, and then the animal just like dissolves into the rocks, and that's how they get their nutrients. So like, there's no birds. At least eggs keep a little longer than milk does, so you can at least like get eggs for a decent price on this island. So like that would be a thing that you could do. You could just buy some eggs. You had to import them, but you can have them. And if you you know, keep your chicken indoors, I guess you can have your own eggs. But that's way too complicated. That's too much effort, and most people are too poor for that. Milk is only for the rich on the island because you have to import it over the goddamn strait, and nobody wants to do that if they can avoid it. Because that shit is effort. Especially because we're in, like, the warm south. So that shit's gonna spoil if you don't, like, chuck it in ice. Which, yeah, you can do. You've got magic. You can fucking handle it. But it's just like, oi. Like, that is not a tiny strait. I think that's, like, the equivalent between, like, what, Victoria and Tasmania. But we don't have, like, fancy boats. So it's like, you know, you gotta... no, not Tasmania to Antarctica, you son of a bitch. Tasmania to Melbourne. 419! God, it's actually quite small, never mind. It looks a lot bigger on the map, but that's because it's a small scale. That's only like 50 kilometers. That's actually not that far. 50k is not far. I misread it. So it's like, I mean, well, hold on. Country borders. Specifically, I need to know from Samborgan. Well, from Samborgan to its place, which is the town that's on the drawing. It's on this drawing. So that's, Zehazos. That's the, like, capital of Heroda, which, I mean, it doesn't have an actual capital. So that, like, Zehazos is the capital of Heroda. It's like 50k, and I don't think the waters would be too shitty. They might be not great, but it's probably manageable. As opposed to, like, this shit here, where, like, this is, like, I think, like, probably at least twice the distance, and it's a lot shittier to get in. Of course, there is the issue with the coral reefs around the whole island, or around, like, the bays of it at least, which make it a pain in the ass to, like, deal with. But, like, you can get... 50 kilometers is not far, so you probably could actually get milk at a decent amount. The issue is that Samborgan is actually quite small, so relative to even just its neighbor, if you only count the mainland territories, Churladome is bigger than Samborgan. Hell, fucking Urshrua is probably bigger than Samborgan. Samborgan is not big. Except then you include Heroda, and it's like, oh shit, that's actually quite large. But then you remember that 90% of that is not inhabited because of coral that makes you die, basically. So, you know, it's like, I don't know how much. They probably have enough cows they could export milk to Heroda. You got some good plains in there. You can put some cows. You can put some cows in there. And that means that they would have milk, so they could easily develop the idea that milk is good. And I mean, yeah, dairy's good for you, I guess. Listen, I don't drink... I think all the dairy I get is, like, from cheese. So that's my problem. So, you could probably have that develop where it's like, hey, if you know, drink milk, it takes longer for the coral to work, and we haven't tested this, but we're just going to assume it works because it makes me feel better about myself. And so that can be a thing. That they think milk is useful. Could be an egg thing. But they don't have an actual quote-unquote cure for it yet. There is no cure for the coral make you sleepy. You just need to kind of hope that you didn't, like, inhale or consume such a huge amount of it that, you know, you kind of wither away before you wake up. You kind of hope that you only have enough that it gave you, like, a real good night's sleep. Kind of thing. Which is why using it as an anesthetic is risky, but, like, you know, if you're careful enough with your amounts, in the same way that any anesthesia is kind of risky, because if you do too much, shit gets real bad. And if you do too little, someone wakes up in surgery and has a real bad time. So that's, you know, not great. Generally speaking. That's just real life science. It's not even fantasy science. It's just real life science. So there's that. That's a thing. Yeah. That was why the medicine was third originally, and then I put the building third. Just because it was more complicated. And it was like the end of the life cycle of the plant. Because, like, you use it you use it decoratively and medicinally when it's still alive, so to speak. And then you use it as building when it's hella dead because you boiled the shit out of it. So at that point, it's like, that's the end of its life cycle. It's dead now. So I don't know if I would put... I guess it can just be a subheading. Just be like, cures. Cures. Well, yeah, we'll just put it here for the minute. Treatment. It might end up being a full header of its own, but we'll put it as a subhead for the minute. So cures and treatments. As of... What year is it? Oh, I have it up here. The 38th year of the Era of Return. Woo! Hell yeah. I love that shit. I love when I, from the past, reach out and help myself. It's very, very useful. Putting the jacket on the chair is actually really comfortable. I'm gonna move that, like, over there. Probably should be on the other arm, but it's fine. Alright, but, like, so, as of... as of the year 38... Oh, I have a link for this. Return! Return! Yeah, boy. Year 38, return. No cure or neutralization for the effects of Pariha coral exist. Am I capitalizing the word coral? I think I only capitalized it at the start. I think every other time it's being used in lowercase. Many have been suggested and tested with only minimal success. The most common of these folk cures is milk, which needs to be imported from the mainland due to Baroda's inhospitable landscape for cows. While the sleep cannot be instantaneously. That's not spelt correctly. It's fine. You see, reversed through medicinal means. There are still many ways to treat those afflicted with the exhaustion. Among those are a strong focus on rest, and on rest, warmth, and hearty food. Similar to how you would treat a cold or a fever or strong cold. Friends and carers of affected people are encouraged to keep track of how long they have been unconscious, to apply so it can't be reversed, but there are ways to still treat it. So, you know, keep them warm, feed them the good food. I guess this is kind of like stuff you would do after the fact. So, like, after they've woken up. So, assume that they don't die. Assume they wake up. Treat them how you would anybody else who's hella tired. So, you know, give them good rest, give them water, give them, you know, a blanket. Give them some good goddamn soup. Get them that good soup. Chicken soup, baby. We ain't got chickens. I got some chickens. There's a handful of chickens. There are some who are the chickens. There are only, like, 2 of them. You know? Like, there's not like 2. There's probably, like, 10. There are not many chickens. Crucially, there are not that many chickens. A fever or strong cold. If it is not pollen season, and it is safe to do so, getting them fresh air is highly recommended. And if they are healthy enough to travel, removing them from the island entirely is often not a bad idea either, as the residual effects, as residual pollen in the environment is likely to affect them more than their healthy compatriots. I don't know whether the word compatriots is what I used there, but hey, it's a word. Words are hard, and I picked one. Yeah, we'll put it there for the minute. Yes. Others include consuming raw eggs, or what other silly things do people do? Or eating small amounts of crushed coral with meals to build up an immunity to its effects, which is not, neither of which are recommended. I don't know if you can eat raw eggs. I don't think it's a good idea. Probably shouldn't do that. You can't eat raw eggs, right? Please tell me people don't eat raw eggs. Ew. Ew. Why would you eat raw eggs, though? At least cook it. Far out. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Maybe I'll just say the latter of which is not recommended. Just don't do it. Don't eat raw eggs, and do not attempt to build an immunity to coral by eating it. It's not tasty. It tastes like shit. It is disgusting. Don't do it. And also, It will make you very, very sleepy. You just shouldn't do it. Just do not do that. Disgusting. I didn't even mention that it smells damp. Oh, no. That was like the only thing that I had that was like evocative imagery was it smells damp. I didn't even mention it. Oh. Devastating. I'm crushed. I don't know where I'd put it. It would go somewhere in characteristics, but that might be a... Maybe if I edit it, I can edit it. I can bring it back. Whomst knows? Boy, howdy. So that's that one. Oopsies, that's the button. Buttons exist. They're very complicated. Okay. So, next, what we have to do... I really should have put the jacket in the other arm. Next would be all the sidebar shit. Of which there is a lot to go over, and that's where the mask stuff is mentioned. Because of course it is. It's mask stuff. The jacket is still elbowing right now. I'm gonna go like there. That's a little better. Now it's useful, kind of. Yes. So. Yeah. The sidebar is a whole shenanigan about how it's influenced culture, basically. Like, the sidebar is culture shit. Which is probably going to have to go into sections. The annoying part is that going into the sidebar is really annoying because it doesn't scroll properly. For some reason. It's just really annoying. Okay, so the sections would be mask. The milk thing has kind of been established. I probably want an image for the mask, which I will probably do on Saturday, assuming that something really memey doesn't happen during Thursday's game. In which case, I know what I'm doing on Saturday. It's called being like, whoa, baby, get real wild on that one. So there's the masks thing, which is so I guess you like masks / fashion, fashion shit. And there's probably like, oh, what else would you write about? I mentioned something about going into the forest. See, it doesn't scroll properly. I'm scrolling. Nothing is happening. It's really annoying. I wish it didn't do that. I really wish that it didn't do that. I had to test if that came up on the microphone. It did, so that's rough. Oops. Okay, so. There's fashion. Possibly there'd be just a section about the forests and protocols. AKA the flare thing. Milk. Fences. Guards. That kind of shit to keep people out of the forest. Just because I. Don't do that, don't go in there. Because it is a bad idea. Do not do that. Don't go in there. So let's... Probably shouldn't use the word Hidora, because no one can read it. If I use the word too much, everyone's gonna get scared, because that is not, like, a readable word. Because even though I know it's pronounced Hidora, pretty much everybody who reads it is gonna go, like... Skurodha. They're gonna say weird shit, and I respect that. Technically it's a trail, but I can't trail, so it's just Hidora. Because, like, what am I supposed to do about that, huh? but probably should avoid making it big and drawing attention to it. Do not draw attention to the fact that the word is hard. Let's call it island fashion. Well, yeah, you can trill because you had to learn how to trill to speak Spanish. I learned French and Japanese. You don't need to learn how to trill to speak either of those. Those are not trill languages. I can get close if I do the thing where you try and do a specific type of R on 2 syllables in a row. So it's like the word was like, it's like pero, right? There's pero and then there's like pero. And what I can do is like pero, and it kind of gets a little, but it's not a trill. It's like pero. And the idea is if you do pero a couple times, eventually you'll start trilling, but I haven't figured that out yet. So it's hero, herova, but I can't do it. Ah, lucky bastard. You've always been able to do it. I wish that were me. I wish I could pronounce trills. Unfortunately, all I can do is a bunch of weird flaps. And then I can't really pronounce the American R because that shit's weird. Because, like, it basically doesn't exist. Well, it does. We do have it. Obviously, we have that Rodic, but I prefer the tap. The tap is nicer. It doesn't make sense in most words, but it's nicer. Because we use the tap for the tea and water. Which is hilarious. I loved that I learned that fact, because it was just one of the best things I learned from phonology. In order to protect themselves from the Porija pollen. Is someone's dog barking at this hour? Or was that a particular sting in the music that sounded like a dog? That's a mystery. I'm never gonna know the answer. I got bugged out by a bunch of dogs today, and because I had headphones in, I didn't give a shit. Like, they're just yapping their little heads off, and I'm like, shut up, I'm delivering mail. Leave me alone. And then I was 3 mails short, and I was like, how the fuck did this happen? And the answer is, I don't know. Luckily, I don't get dogs to pay for that. Thank God. I'm gonna tooltip that one. I'm going to say residents of the island instead. Well, the most obvious is to leave during spring. Leave for the mainland during spring. This is not possible for the majority of people, especially those whose work cannot be done off the island. For those who remain, staying inside is very common. But if they must leave the house, the wearing mask is recommended. Welcome to mask time. Let's change your paragraph. Two forms. Face coverings made entirely out of strips. Out of out of lengths of fabric. And in such a way as to cover their mouths and noses. And those made from woods or metals that cover the entire face. The latter can often be seen throughout the year as it became fashionable, as it seemed, as it was easier to always have your face covered in case a coral spontaneously bloomed in your vicinity. And they could be easily styled to be fashionable and comfortable. No, the former. The former, not the latter. The former, not the latter. We're not wearing the wood masks. That's not a common thing. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not wear those. Bad idea. The wood and metal masks are far less common, especially outside of Roda. Rodeo Springs. When they are seen, it is often among the high society who can afford to make ever more elaborate ones with carvings and gemstones. With carvings and gemstones and even inlaid coral. And are worn either as a show of their wealth or at some kind of fancy dress or masquerade party. That makes sense. That's kind of like the vibe. That's a chunky paragraph. That's unfortunate. Image here, which will be when I draw it. Maybe. I won't say maybe. I am going to draw it. It'll be a matter of whether it goes there or possibly if I use it to break up that paragraph. I don't think I have any images that I can use that are useful currently for it. Good lord, that's a hell of a mix of images that appear as the most recent. Looking for Tiumar specifically. I don't think I have any, like, mask-related images. And since I've drawn, like, so much of the image, or of the article, of stuff in the article, it would be weird to have a photo, I think. Because usually I use photos as my things. That said, I did use a photo in the Ankyun article, so... who knows? I could possibly use Misty Forest for the forest section, though. Because even though it doesn't quite have the vibe, it is like... well, it doesn't look like the Coral Forest. It does... it has something approximating the atmosphere of going in one of those bitches. So I feel like that's, like, relevant. You know, like that's, like, not a useless... article. a useless image, rather. So we can't really put a image in here yet. I should put a placeholder. I'm not. I have placeholders for a reason. Placeholder, long one. We'll do the long one. H1, forest. We'll put that as forest for the minute. Yeah, so we'll put like an image there or something. Those are chunky paragraphs, though. Damn. I'm not even gonna get close to the word count, though. I do not need 2,500 words to write about plants. This is already going to be probably the longest species article I have, and it's already that long, and it's got another chunk to go about the forests and about the whole, like, thing with the flares. But it's not going to be much. I basically can finish it tonight if I stop getting distracted. Pretty much. I do want to check. How long are the species articles usually? They're usually like 600 words, right? 1,000, not finished, 500, 600, 600, 1,000, not written, 600, 500. So yeah, most of them, so this will end up in the similar camp to the dragon and the elf articles, which is weird because those are way more important overall. So that's a little bit funky. The harmonial was only 700 because it's mostly like a social thing. It's not really like, there's not a whole lot to talk about old people. Like people what live forever, but that we don't think are real because the one that's alive does not disclose that fact because why the hell would she? She would like to keep living. She doesn't want people to kill her. She might get killed anyway for complicated geopolitical reasons, but that's a different problem. That is a different problem that she can't really do anything about. So, you know, Maybe traversal. Traversal could be a good word for this. Traversal. Going into the forests of into the coral forests is never recommended under any circumstances, but sometimes it is necessary for those who must travel. And in most cases, it isn't even possible to enter without a permit due to the guards and walls which exist along the perimeters of the islands. Count them, 2 settlements. I've only named one of them, but there are only 2. I should put that on the map before I forget. You fool. You fool. I should put them on the map before I forget them, because I will forget them. I will forget the Hazosh, and I will forget the other one. So let's put that bad boy in here. So, Sambogan is red color, is its thing. So let's check a red town in here, boy. Town. No. City. City red. Yeehaw. And this is, I need the thing with the umlauts. Hazosh. Capital city of actually no. Largest city in the part of that is owned by Sambogan. Acts as the regional capital. No, actually it's only city. It's largest and only. Did vibing you now, but boop. That's completely fair. It's late. I mean, it's 12:26, but you like having sleep, which I respect, and I wish I also had sleep, which is why I'm looking forward to when daylight savings ends and I can change the time zone of the thing again. God, I'm looking forward to that so bad. You know? So, like, sleep, yeah, sleep good. Sleep good. I'm still tired from yesterday. I think my sleep will be fixed for Thursday, so I won't be, you know, half asleep during the game, which is good. Not that I was going to be anyway, because I was going to be doing something. And usually when I'm doing something, I'm not very tired. So that's, basically I'm tired because I'm bored, is usually what happens. Ah! No! I hate that. I hate that it always happens. I'm pretty sure that's where the city was, though. Fuck it. I'm trying to drag shit. God. Okay, so we got one of them in. And then there's a second one over here, and I don't know what it's called. So let's just go, city, and we need like a blue or maybe a green. Oh, Jesus. Where's the question mark? Where do you Estonians hide that question mark? Where is it going? The Chiladum city on Nodola. We're not gonna link anything there because I can't bother. We'll deal with that when I fix it. When I name it, so I'll name it like off the stream or something. It's because no one wants to get blinded by, you know, the situation that happens. Yalanyu. I don't even remember naming that one, I'll be honest with you. I know why it's named, because it was the capital city and then they fucking moved it, but I don't remember naming most of these. I also think I'm missing, no, I have it. I did put the capital. Meisna's there, and so is Ystrom. Sachayod is there. Skrezosh. I still haven't named the capital of Azerhalov, which I've been meaning to do for ages, and then I keep not doing. And the issue is that I basically can't put anything here because, like, what am I supposed to do? It's vertical. How do I link to the one city in it? I don't know. I named it. I don't even remember what I named it. Viva Myazdiku? How do I link to that on this stupid thing? That's not my problem. It's the map. I keep forgetting to. I keep trying not to say the word stupid. Sorry. How do I put it on the map? Who knows? The islands. 2 settlements. I'm gonna yeet the notes before they get in the way. Yeet those notes before they get in the way, too bad. Why did that suddenly move? Why did that bit move? The shit? In circumstances, and in most cases isn't even possible without permission. Get that permit from the king, dude. Or from the mayor, I don't know. Go wild. I'll say not recommended under any circumstances. If one must travel in the forests, there are precautions which should be taken. I have a goddamn list, maybe. Oh, I can actually just list it. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. List them. Make a list. Woo. God, I haven't used a list in ages. Jesus. I think I used a list on, like, the religion article for something. Okay. That's just common sense. Wear a mask. Mask. It's a mask. What's your word? Old times. From any of the existing pathways. No, that's not a precaution. A series of, it's not even really a series. A number of things which should be done. 200 times. Do not stray from any existing pathways. Food and drink should only be consumed outside of the forests. A friend or many. Actually, no, I'll put that as a tooltip. So, tooltip or many. Friend tip should be informed of when you have left, why, and where, so that they can notify authorities if you fail to reappear within a certain amount of time. They're getting longer as they go. You wear a mask, don't stray, do not eat or drink, dear God. When you left and why. You should go with multiple people. That should be one of the earlier ones. Should 1 times. Do not go in alone. Not under any circumstances. Do not. Well, actually, no, just do not stop. It's very curt. Just don't stop. Keep going. If trouble, take. Give. Actually, hold on. Would it be a flare? How the fuck do flares work? Am I going to get the word that I want? I have to go through a series of processes. A signal bomb created in Chinese Song Dynasty as the Mongol-led Yuan Dynasty besieged Yangzhou in 1276. These soft-cell bombs, timed to explode in midair, use send messages to a detachment of troops from a distance. A signal gun. Fuck yeah. Okay, so we can have an actual flare then. Because we have cannons, therefore we can have a tiny little handheld gun that makes a flare go off. Especially because we have magic, you can just do it. You don't even need your own, like, you can just do it. You just make it happen. Your location, should anything happen. Oh, sleep. That's basically it. Wear a mask, don't go alone, don't stray from paths. Don't eat or drink, dear God. Someone has to know where you are. Don't stop. Have a flare. Don't sleep. Do not sleep. In the most unprepared expeditions into the coral forests, trouble befall them. Even during winter months when there is little pollen around. Small excursions are made to chip back at the encroaching forests to claim more land. Everyone on the island has a horror story. That might be a way to end up. Yeah, something like that. I can obviously edit it because I still want to make this paragraph bigger just because it's literally just a sentence. Which made more sense when it was columns, but now it looks a bit weird. So that might get, oh shit. That might get bigger. But I think that might be a good, chunk. I might just do the spell check now, while I'm around, while I'm vibing. I need the spell check doc. Why is that always what comes up? Google, stop it. Stop that. That's unfair. It's unfair to me personally. Hey, it was the 10 Year Hero article. It was the last article that I wrote. So it's the last thing that came up here. The word Pariha is a word. I love how it's calling up Pariha, but not anything else. What's a Parinha? Trying to call me like a piranha or something? What's a Parinha? Ah, is Portuguese for a game. It's a Portuguese game about guessing the number of sticks. Oh. Okay. Oh, I'm a child. Fucking hell. Yeah, I knew I spelled instantaneously wrong. It's just taneously, not taneously. This is the thing with English spelling. And my inability to do it. So instantaneously. And then... Or masquerade party. Which I will befool them. No, befool is the correct use of the word in that context, I think. I think that's the correct form of it. I need to change the word to or masquerade. And then that's basically that. How many words this article? That's actually not as long as the dragon article, is it? My god. But it doesn't really need to be much longer. I appreciate having a max word count that I can't reach for once, because sometimes I've gotten close. There's been a couple where I've gotten a little too close to that line for comfort. Like, I think specifically, technically there was no word limit at the time I wrote that article, but it's down here somewhere. It tells you to a royal family was 2,000 words nearly, and that's a lot of words. That's a hell of a lot of words. Other names. Death. Bringer of death. What other names would it have? Names of death and possibly a elvish word. Well, no, because the island isn't elven in origin. Because the island of Feroza is not actually an elven place. People think it is, it's not. And they only think it is because there's an entire other island on the other side of the continent which is. So they're like, I assume they both come from the same place. No, Feroza is natively Tiuamara and it's just from the bottom of the ocean. So it looks whack as shit. Probably from a different chunk of the ocean, but it is just regular ocean, like Tiuamaran ocean chunk. A chunk of seafloor gone all fooshy wooshy. It's not a thing. It just looks weird because I decided it would be weird. And now in bed. Hell yeah, bed good. Bed good. Sleepy good. Sleep good. God, this island's actually quite, like, sizable. It is not a small island. It's not, like, huge. Probably small. It's probably smaller than Tasmania, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. This one's probably Tasmania-sized. This island might be Tasmania-sized. I'm unclear. Considering it's, like 300 across. Like, it's not big. How wide? How wide is Tasmania? No. 200 miles, you bitch. Okay. 300 kilometers. Okay, so it's like, the whole thing is Tasmania-sized, pretty much. This whole chunk here is Tasmania-sized. The whole continent. I'm Tasmania-sized compared to, my mom, I guess? That sounds kind of mean, actually. I mean it with love. And actually, that's probably still inaccurate. That's not quite the size differential we're working with here. I am Tasmania-sized compared to, like, the rest of my family. Like, if you get a bunch of my family members in a room, I am then Tasmania-sized in comparison. Like, you combine all of them, and then you have me, and it's like, I am the Tasmania here. You'd probably have to go outside of my immediate family. You'd probably have to include, like, my brother's fiance or something. But maybe, like, my grandparents or something. Just add a couple people to spice it up. And that would be the Tasmania. Tasmania would be, like, a not awful name. Like, as a given name. I don't know what Tasman actually means. Because it's, like, Dutch bullshit, and I'm sorry, but I don't care about the Dutch. I'm gonna look it up now, because now I'm just, like, vibing. What's Tasman mean? It derives from the name Tess, meaning consolation, and man. So it is basically, like, dude whose mother is called Tess. I'm assuming Tess is a female name in this context. No, not that one. Abel motherfucking Jansen. Wah! Thanks, Abel. Who knows with the Dutch? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That are the colon's victory immediately. And I'm just assuming. I'm just assuming that's how it works. Hey, I'm Bob. Good morning. How is the time zone shift treating you? How's what, you get an extra hour to sleep in or something? How is that treating you? I'm sure that's a good thing. If that's how the time zone works. I don't actually remember. No, it doesn't, does it? No extra time to sleep. I get more time. I get more time when time zone shift to me. Be right. I can now close that. There we go. I'm just gonna say elven, elf name. I'm gonna let the elves name it, because everyone's like, what's it called? And they're like, we don't know. It's like, no, just name it though. It's like, it's called this. And so they'll have an elf name for the Pariha coral, but no one uses it. Because, why would they? Name in, Shiza. So I remember it's Shiza and not the other one. Just fine. Lost an hour of sleep. Ew. But you adjusted your stream back an hour. No change really. You don't have to scramble as much to get awake and ready though. That's good. That's a good thing. That is definitely a benefit. One of the few benefits to daylight savings, but it is a benefit that, like, you don't have to scramble to wake up. It's nice to be able to just, like, sleep in and chill. I need to make a note of what art I actually need for this article, because I think it needs a bit more. I'm gonna use Notepad. I have a Notepad. I don't need to write it down. Let's not write it in my campaign notes. Oh, I'm gonna need a second campaign notes page. Oh my god. Because I'm gonna need it for the Witcher campaign. Yeah, boy. Your boy's gonna need more notepads. I have, like... How many? Why are there so many? Oh, because I'm still missing 2 on those ones. I don't need the blank theme. I can probably remove that. I don't need Utrimork CSS right now. I can close that. I make that easier for myself. It's nice to have daylight 2 in the evening, though. I have to admit that if you were going to stop the switch back and forth thing, I'd prioritize savings time and standard time. Yeah! That definitely makes sense to me. I do like having sunlight in the evenings. Yeah. I think. I'm trying to remember how that affects mornings in winter, but I don't remember. Because, like, winter's already a mess. I remember coming home from uni one time in the middle of winter, and I literally... No, not coming home from uni. Coming home from my media course in high school. Coming home from my media course, and I literally could not see, like, the road. I was on a bus, so it didn't matter, but, like, I couldn't see anything. And I'm just like, where's my stop? I don't know where I am right now. And so I hit it too early because I didn't know where my stop was. And then we had to say, sorry, next stop, to the bus driver. But that was in the evening. That was at like 6 p.m. when it was just pitch black. It's like, holy shit. That's true. If it's a little darker at 7 in the morning, it's not that big of a deal. It's only an issue if you, like, have to get up at 7 in the morning. Which, luckily, I don't. Except for the one time. But that's not... I don't have to drive. It's not my problem. Okay, my notes. So, for Pariha... But Pariha... Art. I need... Cover art. That's gonna be the sleeping thingo. Which I know what that means. And then I need mask... No, a sidebar. No, actually, no, just mask art for sidebar. And then I might want, like, one other piece of art for this article. Just because this section is very big. And I used 2 images up here. And, like, even, like, this section is huge. So... Like, it's not massive, but it is quite large. So it probably... I don't want it to make too much art, though, because that's just a pain in the ass. If I can avoid doing too much art, that'd be good. I could possibly get a stock photo for this to put, like, in here. But other than that, I'm just going to work at 5:30 a.m. Well, even when daylight saving time is getting light out by then, by the time mid-April or so comes around. Yeah, true. That is true. It was only ever an issue for me it being so dark in the morning, I think, like, when I went to uni a couple years back, when I'd have to get up at, like, 8 in the morning, and it was still, like, everything was blue. And even then, it's 8 a.m., it's not dark. It was fine, but it was a little dark. And then, of course, there's no sunlight by, like, 6 p.m., which is a bit more concerning. So, yeah, I definitely think pushing forward to savings time is probably a better idea. I'd prefer to just move that forward one. I'm gonna edit. Covering your face is recommended. This largely takes two forms. Not just coverings made entirely out of lengths of fabric. So I'm gonna say image of put that there so that I remember that. And it'll work. Actually, I might just put that the placeholder. There's a placeholder now. There we go. And so that means that I do feel like I do need one more piece of art like down here. Or maybe like in between these. So possibly, well, issue that is going to be too big. But I can test something out, which is I'm going to try the gem one. Which is the ruby jewelry gold. And see how that spaces out. It's a bit big. I probably wouldn't use the ruby jewelry. I try and find something else. I might put the building there, maybe. Get like a building. So I need a mask art for the sidebar. Photo for face covering. And photo for buildings. Medicine. Jewelry. Whichever works. Okay, so we'll do that. I don't need to save that. That's my random note section. Don't do that. Don't do that. So we're going to change it to the placeholder now, so that I have all the correct images in place, so that I remember to change them. So that I do not forget. There we go. Something like that. So that means there will be a gap here. I can possibly fill that with more detail up in the top section. Maybe. It's not that big of a deal, though. Like, it's not the biggest gap I've had. I think I had a bigger one on Ankyun, actually. Or maybe I didn't. I don't actually remember. I do not remember. Even though I wrote that, like, a month ago. I'm just like, I don't remember nothing. No, yeah, similar size gap. And then there's the thing on the bottom. This article is decent. I'm allowed to say it's good, right? I did a lot more on this than I thought I would. I think it's just because that's, you know, chat was fairly quiet, so I was just like, I gotta write, because otherwise I'll be really bored. Which helps. I'm gonna close that. So I need an elf name for Scissor. I get the notes back up. I also need to do, Zanak. Name for Poriha, and I need a name for Churladom's settlement on Hodotha, so that I can say it's named. Possibly I could just put a quote down here and that might finish it out, depending on how stuff goes. Might not be a bad idea, actually, chuck a quote somewhere in here. Down the bottom is probably the best spot for it. If I was going to put a quote anywhere on that side, but I'd probably put it at the bottom. There could just be like, oop, that's the wrong button. Quote. The worst. Smells. And that's going to be somebody, so someone from Churladom Town. And that's going to be the quote. Hey, and that will balance out because I want to rewrite this section to be longer, so it's not just like a single line. So when I do that editing, this will be basically the same length. At least on my monitor. On nobody else's but mine, and that's what's important, because it's my article, baby. So I'm allowed to have it. Plus, oh shit. Plus, name for weird dude. From it. There we go. That's notes. And I'll basically do that all after the stream. Or at least some of it. I'll finish up some of it after the stream. Because no one wants to have to stare at any of my conline pages for any longer than they have to. I do, because I'm a weirdo. But that's my problem. And it's something that I have to deal with. That's basically a finished article. I'll edit it up and then probably post it like tomorrow. Just so that I can start get into the like phase. And then I can start reading other people's articles this time. I'm gonna make sure that I read people's articles. I am a little bit busy this week because of athletics reasons. I have to help with like the Judy roster and shit. And I'm like, that's gross. But I should still be able to like find time to read people's articles and maybe drop into streams to read other people's. And maybe even get mine on someone's stream. I usually don't do that, but I should remember to do it at some point. Because that shit's cool. The issue is that no one can read. So, that's mean. I'm the one who writes shit that can't be pronounced. So, I might actually, one more thing I'm going to put as my note. I'm going to put a pronunciation guide for Heroda. I think Pariha people are going to be able to read fairly easily, because it's literally just how it's pronounced how it's said. I don't know how else you could pronounce the word Pariha, aside from making the vowels a little bit funky, but it is just like Pariha. Call it Priya, and I'll be cool with it. I need a pronunciation guide for Heroda, which I'm probably gonna just borrow from, I can't borrow directly, but I saw how Timepool does pronunciation, like, tooltips for theirs, for their stuff, because they also have a bunch of conlined words that no one can read. So I'm gonna try and like take a page out of their book and try and do it like they do it. A little bit different, obviously, but like something like it. And I'll start your stream. Yes, have a good rest of the evening. Have a good rest of your day. I'll be there in like 3 minutes. To hang out for a bit before I go to bed. Woo! Yay! Ah, jeez. I'm not gonna give a pronunciation guide for the names here, though, because I don't think anyone really gives a shit. Like, who is saying it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what her name is. I think that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what her name is. The only part that matters is she owns an inn on the island, and you can read that if you hover over and it tells you it's an island on the northeast shores, and you're like, got it. Oh, I wanted a map. Fuck. I wanted to put a map on here. Shit, where did I put that? Shades. I suppose it doesn't need a map. It doesn't need a map. But it probably wouldn't hurt. So it might not end up having the quote. It might not end up having the quote. I'm gonna make that note. So I'm gonna replace quote with map of Pariha distribution. And I'll just pop that there in my notes, and I'll look into it. It'll depend on how the map like goes. I might have to like draw a specific one of it. We'll see. I'll have to obviously draw in its distribution, but that's not an issue. That is one of the easier things that I could do. Like, it is not complicated. I have a tablet for a reason. Not for that reason, but it helps. It's fairly useful to have it for that purpose. To draw it for that. So, you know. So that might be what that replaces with. Instead of having the quote where it mentions that it smells like a wet cow fart, I might replace it with a map up here. Pop it up the top. And that'll show the distribution, and it will at least, even though you won't be able to see the whole of Thrasen, because Thrasen is goddamn huge, and we're only taking in, like, this chunk. It will help, like, people sort of figure out that, okay, so the northeast shore is probably this chunk here. And then the other city won't even get mentioned, but I would like to know what it is anyway. And that way you kind of get the idea of, like, the mainland is over here and the island is here, because you'll see, like, it'll be highlighted that only, like, this chunk has it highlighted. So you're like, okay, so this is Hedorla, and this must be the mainland, because you can just see it off in the corner of your eye. Something like that. I don't know how big it'll end up being, because the rectangle size that I use kind of, We'll see what happens. Anyway, it is now 1 a.m., which means that the time scheduled for the stream is past. It means I've been awake, I've been up here for 2 hours, and that means it is time to disappear. I'll go back to my article so that I can come to a spot that's, like, interesting to look at, I guess. None of this is interesting to look at. Okay, so, of course, thank you all very much for coming. Hopefully you all had a fun time listening to me ramble about Carl. We will, of course, be raiding, and before we do, I remind you all that our raid call is Get Ready, and that you can use the channel points, the little toasty points, toast slices, to claim that emote so that you can spam it, but if you don't want to or you don't have the points for it, you can just yell Get Ready. And of course, as is common for a Tuesday stream, because it is technically Tuesday until I fall asleep tonight, we will be raiding RPG Dinosaur Bob, who was here a moment ago. So yes, thank you all very much for coming. Hopefully you all have a lovely day, no matter what it is that you are doing with it, whether that is having a nice nap, or writing, or drawing, or world building, or just chilling and playing video games, something. Hopefully it is a lovely day, and hopefully I shall see many of you around in future on other streams of mine or others, like other people's streams. And yeah, hope you have a lovely day. I will see you all around. Goodbye. Bye.